Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa. Right, we're into 2022, safely, sort of. Is that the correct adjective? Who knows? But let's talk about the trash that occurred in 2021. That's right, that's the makeup that I really did not enjoy. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, then do please keep on watching. So I'm going to talk about these in no particular order in terms of their offense, but let's start with this first one. This was the Sleek Control-Alt-Delete palette. I had such high hopes for this because it had been a long time since I had seen Sleek do something that was, interesting. And when this came up on releases and rants, I think it was myself and Tia, we were like, oh my goodness, this is actually interesting. It's hard enough to get like some decent pastels, and we were like, okay, there's some interesting things there. I could have done without this, but I was like, hey, for the price, why not? I believe it was 15 euros, and the colour story, let's be real, not actually that bad. But oh, sweet, merciful Zeus, when I tried to use it, it was so kick-uppy, chalky, powdery. It wanted to be anywhere but on my eyelid. It was evaporating. I don't know what it was doing, but it was so bad. I really had to work so hard to get any sort of pigment on it. Like, the shimmers were okay, like not the worst, but I think it was the mattes that I was like particularly offended by. Yeah, the shimmers weren't bad, but like the mattes. And I'm white. Like I'm white, you know? Like super, super white. This was awful. I so regret getting this. And it was only 15 euro. Like, I got it in Boots, but oh my god, it was so bad. Love that it says I'm vegan, and I'm like, that's like the only redeeming fact on this. It was absolutely terrible. So, so bad. Do not buy, avoid. Control-Alt-Delete, definitely. Actually, pretty apt name, all things considered. Trash, do not recommend. Ugh. This next one I don't think will come as a massive surprise to anyone. This was the Morphe Avani Greg, what was it called, for the Bebs palette. Oh my god, right? This was where they actually tried to do like an eyeshadow palette plus a liner palette, which, let's face it, that's an interesting concept. And I was like, okay, Morphe, I'm kind of with you. I don't know what the fuck these were. These were meant to be the liners, but they were dreadful. I dug into them to try to get them to work. Like, it was a nightmare. Like, I at one point thought I had it figured out, but then I realised I hadn't, and it was just... it was so bad. It was like, I think the only thing you could maybe use those as is like a really crap eyeshadow. Like, it was so horrifically bad. Now, what I will say is, in general, the rest of the eyeshadow like wasn't awful. Like, this silver is actually really, really good. I really liked that. Nothing about the rest of the palette necessarily jumps out at you. This was an okay shade, but this particularly offended me. I cannot get over how bad this was. Like, there were a couple of different videos trying to figure out how to use it. Was it just that you dipped your brush in? Like, I'll show you guys now. I have some little liner brushes here near me at all times. So I'm taking this and I'm going to go into the red. I've, by the way, dipped my brush into water because that's apparently the life that I have. And this was what some people were saying you had to do, but even that I found didn't work very well. See? Hello. Hello. So then I started to try to put water into it, but it just like absorbed and it became what can only be described as a nightmare. I'm going into the red shade, by the way. And yeah, even then, this reminds me of, you know, when you like had like those, well, we call them Mr. Freezes, like those ice pops, and they had like food dye and stuff in them, which I'm like, that probably made us super, super hyperactive, but they had like this sort of a this sort of a shade to them. Like, there is no pigment in this. Like, where is the pigment? Excuse me, hello? Like, okay, let's try like the navy one. Like, Again, I've dropped like a pile of water onto this. It's like it's hydrophobic. Like the water just kind of sits on top of it. It doesn't really absorb initially. And then when it does absorb, it just goes like it's already absorbed into the red. So I don't know how you can get that to work for you. So that's the, like, look at that. What even is that? It's been months. It's been months. It's been a good, well, I say good. It's been about 7 months, and this palette, particularly the fucking liner shades, still make me angry. I hated that. Avoid, avoid, avoid. Even if it's on sale, don't get it. Don't get it. I massively regret it. Okay, this next one, you're definitely not going to be surprised about this. This is oddly one of my most highly viewed videos, and this is about the Be Perfect Scepter palette. Initially, my problems were that it didn't blend out very well, and that a lot of the shades kind of duped themselves. Like this shade and this shade, I know that's a blush and that's an eyeshadow, but they were super, super similar. This shade and this shade were pretty much identical. This shade and this shade, the two blues were very, very similar. Those shades were very similar. Those two were super, super similar. So it kind of annoyed me that the palette duped itself, and then kind of the quality wasn't quite what I would have associated with Be Perfect in the past. I actually really like Be Perfect. I think they've like a really good formula. It's great, they're an Irish company, all that sort of jazz. But the issue that then arose was that Vivian kind of was quite nasty about the way that I interpreted the palette, which, by the way, all of these things are subjective. Like, I may be talking about some things that you absolutely love and you are beyond offended that I hate them. But that's okay. I'm not gonna like jump into your house at night and like trash your beloved palettes because we disagree in them. It's okay. But she did not take to it kindly, neither did her husband, who then sent some like really messages, and it was like super upsetting. But this palette was really bad, and I also have another like negative memory associated with this. Like, this was all kind of going down when my dad was really, really sick, and somebody who I thought was a friend at the time, I sent them a palette, and we don't really talk anymore. So it was a whole thing. Yeah, don't recommend it. I know that some people actually got a really good one. I still think maybe I got a dud or something, because the quality just wasn't there. It didn't blend very well. I know quite a few people really liked it, but it just wasn't for me. And then with all the drama and SH1T that occurred after that, no, I still have it because well, why not? Like, it's a weird sentiment to keep, but there you go. I didn't like it. I hope you liked yours. The very last one is a recent purchase. I don't know why I got it, because I had bought P. Louise before. I bought the Worldy palette and I hated it. I thought the formula was really, really bad. It was patchy, it was a bit crap. This was the Watch the Queen Conquer palette, and it's massive. Like, it's you can see how much I've dug into a lot of these shades in an attempt to get them to work. The colour story in and of itself, super, super interesting. That's why I got it. I personally think the packaging is a bit silly. Like, I don't get it. Like, why? It's clunky. You've obviously put more money into this. It's a bit, I don't like it. I wish this had worked for me. I'm still convinced I got a dud. Everything was patchy. It didn't blend well. The shimmers were like just not there. You could even tell in the swatches they didn't perform very well. The purples were very, very patchy. The green was pretty much non-existent. I did try as many of the shades as possible, but this was absolutely awful, to the point that because this was so bad, and then I really struggled with their customer service, they were very, very poor. It took them forever to respond, that I'm not effing with P. Louise anymore. I also, in the same purchase, had got the Stack 'em Ups, which I actually thought were pretty okay. The blue one was the best. The pink one was, I think, the weakest in my opinion. But this, again, I know this is much beloved by so many people, but I personally regret getting this because it was just such poor quality for me. And I actually don't know what I'm going to do with this because it's not usable, and I wouldn't even give it to somebody because I think it's so bad. You know, like it's totes awkward. But that's it. That's the whole negative vibes video done. What do you guys think? Were there any particular purchases that you really regretted this year? Is there something that really didn't work for you? I was quite lucky in that most of the things that I bought, I actually ended up quite liking. Not necessarily loving, but liking, and I know that I'll get good use out of them. These are the ones that I know I'm just not going to use. Like these are bad, these are trash. What have you found that was bad, that was trash? But that's it. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you can get more videos. Do please share, because sharing is caring, unless of course it's an STD, in which case, you know, wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.